Today we're going to cook up some pork for lunch. I had a big pork loin. I cut it up into pork chops and had some weird pieces left over. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to take them out to the cabin and we're going to cook them up for lunch, and that's going to be really good. Trim off any excess fat. There. A little bit of salt. Mozzarella steak spice. I think this stuff goes good with pretty much everything. And just a little bit of garlic powder. This also goes pretty much good with everything. There. Now today we're going to use my trekking skillet. Why? Because it's fun, and that's all we do out at the cabin. We have fun. It's just a small little skillet. It has a folding handle. You can always cut a stick off if you need a longer handle. It's not big, but it fits in my knapsack pretty good. And we've used this on several occasions when we're out having a little what I call a campfire lunch. And I hadn't used it in a while, so I thought, you know what, it'd be fun to use that today. So that's what we're going to do. So we've got the wood stoves all warmed up, and we'll get a little olive oil in here, and we'll get this cooking. Now it's pretty cold when we got up to the cabin here, so the olive oil is actually solidified, but we'll get it melted, and we'll be cooking in no time. It's not going to take very long for this to heat up. Now today's topic, while we're having our lunch, we're going to talk about traditional long hunters versus modern long hunters. Anybody who's interested in hunting with a flintlock is going to fit into one of these categories. Anything from guys who are what we call period correct, we call it experimental archaeology, right up to the guy who's using camouflage, modern camo from a big box store. We're just going to talk about the different aspects and what each guy might enjoy. And this pan sure did heat up fast. It's not going to take long to cook this. There we go. You can hear it sizzling pretty good. Now, while we're in our conversation, we're going to talk about period correct versus what I like to call Carhartt correct. Basically, guys that wear a lot of Carhartt clothing, which includes me. For example, this folding skillet, some people say it hasn't been documented that people really didn't use it. It's a piece of modern technology. I use it because I like it, and it's fun. Life's too short not to have a little bit of fun. Now, pork itself probably would have been one of the first domesticated animals on the frontier. I think there's a lot of reference to it. I know in the early days, they used to turn the hogs loose in the woods. They used to fatten them up on chestnuts. American chestnut tree. That's the biggest ecological disaster that's ever happened in North America. And actually, not too many people know about it. At one time, there was over a billion with a B, billion chestnut trees in the eastern part of North America. They say 1 in 4 trees in that whole area, right from North Carolina right up into southern Ontario, Canada, was in fact the chestnut tree. These trees were massive. Of course, they were wiped out by a blight that was brought over from China. A chestnut tree they had brought over to New York City, and that blight spread through all of North America and killed almost, when I say almost, we're talking 99.9% of the chestnut trees. But modern technology and science we're on the brink of bringing them back. They crossbred what was left of the American chestnut tree with the Chinese tree to make them blight resistant, or they're pretty sure they're blight resistant, and they've had a fair degree of success. And I actually have a couple that I'm going to plant in front of the cabin later this spring. I don't know if they're going to be successful. We're kind of on the northern limit of what maybe they will, maybe they won't. Real quick look, that pan is hot. Geez, that's cooking up rather fast. Of course, it's pork, so you like to have it, make sure it's well cooked. And I think we're done. Once again, another delicious meal, and in keeping with our tradition, we have the honey jar. Not surprised this beer isn't frozen. I was worried it might be. It's in the fridge. We got down to minus 20 degrees Celsius. That's about minus 4, minus 5 degrees Fahrenheit. It was cold, frosty night last night, which is really unusual for this late in March. It's March the 6th. So let's have a little taste here and see what we have going. Oh, wow. So, a traditional, period correct, long hunter, sometimes referred to as experimental archaeology. Those are historians who love flintlocks and love history, and they want to discover as accurately as possible what life was like back in the early days when Europeans settled this continent. Now we have history books, we have museums, and quite regularly these facilities would readily document special activities of wealthy people or in big towns. What they didn't do was cover the day-to-day life of the average settler who's trying to scratch out a living and earn a little bit of independence. And the people who study this stuff, what they might do is they might find a tool, with a rifle or an axe or some clothing or some farm implement, and they pretty much know or have a rough idea of how it was used, when it was used. But that's not good enough. They want to know as much as they can about it. And so they start searching and searching, and they'll spend, God knows, hundreds of hours trying to find documentation to prove their theory, or what is generally considered theory, about these items and how they were used. Now sometimes in their studies they will discover by accident something completely irrelevant. So these people, they love history, and to them, it's kind of like a treasure hunt. It's kind of cool. It's a lot of fun. If that gets you excited, then wow, have fun. What gets me excited is this meal. So how does all this relate to long hunters and hunting and bushcraft? When they go to the woods, they do it as authentically as possible. And for the odd little piece of equipment that they might have for safety or medical purposes, they keep those buried hidden. And so they try to experience as close as they can today what it might have been like for a long hunter or an explorer who's out in the wilderness, and that's fun. But a lot of people, that's not that critical. So on one end of the spectrum, we have our period correct experimental archaeologists. On the other end of the spectrum, we have guys who run to the big box store, buy a gun, and run out with their modern camo and all their new paraphernalia. And they're out in the woods and they're trying to have a good time. And guess what? That's okay. Can't stay away from this too long. This is so good. And you get a lot of people that are somewhere in the middle. I think most people are somewhere in the middle. You have some people who they'll have maybe 80-90% of the stuff, and maybe one piece of equipment might be from one time frame, another piece of equipment might be from another time frame. And that's not really critical to them. They're in the woods and they're appreciating what it might have been like during the exploration of this country, and that's okay too. And you get some people who, probably I fall into this category more than any place else. They like a rustic, primitive kind of era where I wear a lot of Carhartt clothing, I think, and I call it Carhartt correct. Now that's not anything bad about the clothing. I think every tradesperson, every farmer, every outdoorsman, if they open up their closet, you're going to find something that has a Carhartt label on it, because the product just does what it says it's going to do. It's rugged, it's dependable, and it delivers. So Carhartt correct is for a primitive, rustic kind of outdoor experience, and that's probably where I fall in. Oh wow. I think the point of the conversation that I'm kind of trying to get around to is some people, they want to be as authentic as possible, or more authentic, or they're almost there, but they just haven't quite got the last piece of equipment or clothing or the last piece of documentation that proves what they're doing is authentic. And they wait until they get that last piece before they go out and practice hunting or trekking or being in the woods or camping or whatever you want to call it. My point is, don't wait. Get out there and enjoy the outdoors with what equipment you have. I'm sorry, I can't stay away from that too long. It just tastes so darn good. By waiting until you have that last little piece just perfect, you're robbing yourself of so many outdoor experiences and memories. Now you may not, let's say you've got all your kit together and you're out in the woods, you may not be proficient with it all at once. So go out in the woods and practice with what you have, starting fires, cooking on primitive cookware, sleeping under adverse conditions, making shelters. And then when you get that new last piece or another piece, go out and learn that. You don't have to learn it all in one day. Learn it piece by piece and enjoy every part of it. I don't know if you would enjoy it as much as I'm enjoying this. Oh. I guess what I want to say is, get out in the woods. Life is a ticking clock that doesn't wait for anybody. So whether you aspire to reach that level of perfection of an authentic, period-long hunter, or whether you're just out running around the woods with a flintlock, having a good time like me, the important part is being in the woods. There's always some historical element with whatever equipment you do own, whether it's a modern piece of clothing or a genuine recreation of an artifact. Do it. Then grab a camera and share it. Because millions of people want to see it. A lot of people, whether you're hunting or camping or trekking, they want to learn from your experiences as well as share their own, and that's part of the enjoyment I get. Ooh. I think probably one of the most important things to consider is footwear. Authentic pair of moccasins are a joy to use in the woods until it's wet. And if there's snow, they're downright dangerous. As a person with 2 artificial knees, I can't afford to have a fall like that. So once in a while, I wear my moccasins. More often than not, I'll wear some modern footwear just because I can't afford to be sliding down a hill and twisting up these knees. I bust these knees up, there's no going back. It's a one-way trip. We're going to finish up this meal. Then we're going to break out the dessert. You know that. It's getting to be a tradition here. I enjoy it, so we're going to keep on doing it. You soon with the dessert. Today's dessert is brought to you by Glenlivet Single Malt Scotch. I think it's 12-year-old. I don't know. I enjoy it. I guess that's all that really matters. Getting back to the main conversation, it doesn't matter if you're a perfectionist as far as being period correct, if you're kind of a semi-period correct guy, whether you're rustic, whether you're primitive, or even if you're ultra modern with a flintlock in your hands. I guess what I'm saying is, go to the woods and enjoy it and learn from it and create those memories. And don't be afraid to take a camera and come back and share it with us. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for the visit, and we'll see you again soon.